Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm Zelp and today we are playing some more Warframe. We are reading comments, answering questions, accepting corrections, and also sharing useful information. Now, a while ago I used to have this whole series called Footnotes, where I basically interact with the comments and made a video out of it. Sometimes there are corrections, sometimes there are just really interesting things that is not in the video, but it's not big enough to be its own video, but at the same time fairly important. So I make a separate video where I talk about these small useful information. So if you feel like you might not learn anything today, you might be wrong. Now, one thing I like to point out is that don't be afraid to ask questions, because you'll be surprised that a lot of things that you guys ask, I'm actually not 100% sure, because a lot has changed and many things may require re-investigating. And if you feel silly asking those questions, just imagine how I would feel if I don't know the answer to it and I'm trying to run the channel here. Now, the first comment is more or less a correction. It says that in my most recent video, the one yesterday, state that heat proc does not stack, and I was wrong. So apparently heat proc does stack, and the heat proc that I was referring to is the really old heat proc. I think somewhere in between when I stopped playing, they actually changed the way it works. It may have been a fairly old change, but the last time when I was playing Warframe, I didn't even investigate any of the status. I just assumed most of them is the same, and I was focusing mainly on Railjack, so I did not know this change until now. So I'm going to showcase a quick test to show you guys what I mean. We are going to use not a heavy gunner because heavy gunner has armor, and what that will do is that since heat procs also reduces armor, we won't be able to tell if the damage increase is due to the reduction of armor or if it's the DOT actually stacking up. Okay, so in my last video I said that heat don't stack, but turns out if you look over here, if I were to hit him enough to cause a heat proc, you can see the tick is 392, right? 392 per tick. If it does stack, that value is going to go up the more I hit it. So right now I'm going to hit him a lot more times. Okay, let's take a look. It's 1568. So it does stack, but it doesn't come out like multiple layers of, maybe that 392 thing, but instead it just kind of lumps together and show one value, which I think it's a really good addition. I feel like Toxin should also act this way if they do not already do, because I haven't tested Toxin yet either. However, heat does have that added advantage over armored enemies, because it could remove or ignore up to 50% of their armor. However, electric procs has the ability to spread, or he has a larger AoE. So all in all, they both kind of have their own uniqueness, and I feel like it might be wrong for me to say that electric is better than heat, knowing now that heat actually stacks. And because of your correction, Silver Sickle, you are eligible to have my glyph. If you want to claim it, all you have to do is just PM me on Discord. My link is at the description below. Now, the next one is not really a correction or anything interesting, but upon reading it, it kind of gave me some questions, some thoughts, and I wanted to ask this for a really long time now. I've never really knew like why it happens, and I'm gonna get to that in just a bit. The thing that he was asking is actually about ancient healers. He asked, doesn't the ancient healer have a 50% damage reduction on the body shot? The truth is, which is replied by Doff Muffin, that it is not the body, but it's actually the shield thing, the crown at the back of the ancient healer. It does have a body part multiplier of negative 50%. Now, however, this kind of makes me want to ask the question that why don't we get that, or why don't they have that damage reduction where you see them in the mission, the 90% damage reduction aura? So you can clearly see that he has that aura and that he's producing that aura, but for some weird reason they don't have that 90% damage reduction, which I feel like it's weird because it's inconsistent. And then it kind of begs the question as to what other things does the Simulacrum actually ignore, and can we actually trust our values if that is the case? Now, another reason why I really want to know the answer to this is because if there's a way to bypass it, so that they can have that 90% damage reduction, then we can actually test certain things that's a little bit more, how do I say, more high end. Because currently, because of the armor nerf and things, there's a lot of weapons that can't really fully shine because the enemy just dies too quickly. So I think it would be kind of cool if we can use the ancient healer, like maybe with the Oregon, the faction, and then buff a heavy gunner to have 90% damage reduction plus the armor that he already has, and then we can actually do some really crazy stuff with that heavy gunner without it dying too quickly. Or maybe you can also even find an interesting synergy that can bypass that aura. But the fact of the matter is that the aura doesn't work in the Simulacrum, and that just kind of begs the question, like, what else doesn't work, and at the same time, why doesn't it work? Now the last question comes from Iceberg Titan Sinker, and he basically asks, after watching the viral versus corrosive videos that I've made in the spreadsheet, that can they have both? And he's not the only one. There's a lot of people who ask the same question, but he's the only one that suggested 2 weapons that I can try out. So we are going to try those weapons out right now. And as for what other weapons that can actually do viral and corrosive at the same time, someone actually said that some kind of Zaw, I think, that you can actually do it. But I'm not really good with Zaws because I haven't been crafting much Zaws, and I don't really know how to make it happen. But the way that I know is to find a weapon that has its own corrosive or its own viral, and then you can actually just add mods into it to make a corrosive or viral, which I'm going to showcase right now. And we're also going to compare it with a heavy gunner and see how that goes. I actually want to showcase the Synapse first. Okay, so Synapse has by default, it has corrosive at 20 damage. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to put in, if I want to make a viral in it, I just need to put in a toxin and also a coal. And this toxin is not going to combine with the corrosive. So if I were to put in a coal, where is it? Did I pass it? Yes, I did. There you go. Then we can actually get viral and corrosive together, right? So what I'm pretty much doing is just that. But first, we're gonna see how it performed with purely corrosive. So the damage increase is the same. It's only 24, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 24? Yeah, it's 24. So the weapon itself has 20 corrosive damage plus these 2 mods. You'll get an extra 24 corrosive damage, and that will add up to 44 corrosive damage. You can also see that I put as many status chances as possible on the weapon, so that hopefully we are actually comparing the status effect and how it could eat through the armor of an enemy. So we want to have as much status effect as possible. So right now we're going to move the ancient healer. We're going to put in a heavy gunner. We're going to pause the AI so that it's easier on us, and then simulate level 160. Okay, and then we are going to try and kill him with a headshot. Try to stand as close as possible so that we don't end up losing out due to damage fall off because of the distance. And you can see that right now, if you look at a heads up display, you can see there's a corrosive with a 10 next to it, which means that it's already stacked up to 10 times. So it takes about, I would say, 1.5 clips to kill a level 160 heavy gunner. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the voltage and put in that coal dual stat mod. So now that 24 is a 24 viral instead of 24 corrosive. So overall we're still doing 44. So damage wise it's still the same, but we're just really comparing between corrosive and also corrosive plus viral. So now we are going to resummon that character. Corrosive is good against ferrite armor. So if I were to summon, like, let's say a bombard, then obviously the one with viral is going to be way better. Okay. Okay, now they both viral and corrosive has 10 stacks, and it's dead. So it's about, I would say, like 75% of the clip. Let's try the how do you pronounce this? Page. Anyways, so for this one, we're gonna try with viral first, okay, and then after that we are gonna switch this with electric, and we're gonna try with viral and corrosive. Sadly, with the synapse, we can't try just pure viral with the synapse because it has its own corrosive. It's not something that we can take away. Okay, so go close and shoot. Okay, the viral stack has already maxed out. I feel I need to aim a little bit lower just in case I miss. You can see that the damage is already stagnant. It doesn't vary above, and only like a quarter of his health is gone. And I don't think this will go any faster, so you'll probably need to do this like 4 times at least in order to kill him. There is like some critical getting into play, but yeah, I think you get the picture. About four full clips to kill a heavy gunner. So now let's put in the electric. Where is it? Shell shock. There you go. Okay, and let's see how this works. Kill him. Resummon a new one. Again, aim for the headshots. Go close. Okay. Yep. Now both of them are at max stack, and it's dead. So again, less than a clip. Okay, so I guess it's safe to say that if you can put viral and corrosive together, your damage is going to increase by a lot. But Mr. Iceberg also said that what if we can put heat in it as well? So we're gonna try with just a phage. We're gonna put heat inside as well, but as you can see, it's no longer standard, it's no longer controlled. We're gonna get a little bit more extra damage obviously, and also more status chance. So just keep that in mind for what you're about to see. One thing I like to note is that my weapon is not heavily modded, it's not full mod, it's not potatoed, so just keep that in mind. Now I also want to point out that I really don't like the fire what do you call status effect, because it kind of makes them move a bit and it's a little bit hard to aim for the head when that happens. But as you can see, we use less than a clip as well, but I feel like it's a lot lesser this time. Now to be honest, I feel like this might actually be a really good combo. So we have viral to kind of buff up your damage, we have corrosive to reduce the enemy's armor, and then we have heat for the damage and DOT. So I feel like it's a really good combo. But as of now, that is pretty much all that I can be testing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that maybe you learned something interesting. By the way, Iceberg Titan Sinker, you too get a glyph. So if you are interested, all you have to do is just PM me on Discord and I'll give you the code. Okay, that is pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a pleasant day and have fun in Warframe. Bye bye.